Hello and welcome to ECOTIMES.TV magazine podcast. Today we've got two special guests, Dave Buchanan, which is an amazing name by the way, Dave, and Laura Davis, and they are from www.earthship.es. Guys, are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Hi.
Great stuff. I'm your host, Alex Strong. And Laura, if you can start, if you could tell us a brief kind of overview of your journey and how you kind of decided to build your own eco house.
Yeah, okay. Well, we, about 12 and a half years ago, we decided that, well, longer than that, we moved to Spain and bought an old cortijo, which we renovated ourselves. And it's a beautiful house, but it's next to a country road. So we love cats and roads don't mix. So we decided after a few years that we wanted to move. And also that we wanted to build an eco house. So we wanted to buy a plot of land and have an eco house built. So I started doing research on the internet to look for eco architects that we could contact, to get something moving. And I came across Earthships and was just blown away by the thoughts. Well, first of all, by the beautiful handmade quality of them. And also the actual thought that we could build it ourselves, so we then
got some land.
We bought the books. We bought the books first, actually, because we wanted to read through and just get to know them and sort of see whether we felt comfortable with doing it. And the books go through what you have to look for in a piece of land. So we decided that we could go ahead, and build one. So we wrote a list, what we needed in a piece of land, started looking on the internet within a 40-minute radius of our other house. We went onto the internet and started. We found one piece that we were really interested in, so contacted the estate agent, and she had another couple of pieces of land that she wanted us to look at. So this was actually the third one that we came out to look at on that day, and it was just perfect. So within a month we bought it, and the rest, they say, is history.
That's amazing. And sorry, so for people out there thinking about buying a piece of land in Spain to build an eco home, what do they need to be aware of in terms of kind of permissions and stuff? And two, what would be a kind of rough estimate for a kind of an okay plot near civilization? That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I bet. The price of land depends on whether it's got utilities to it, so water and electricity, and also there are different sort of types of land. There are, there's agricultural with living. There's pastoral land which you're not allowed to build. So there's all and then also there's land that has actually got permission to build on it, which is going to be
cool. Expensive.
Quite expensive. So we bought this piece of land which was agricultural, and we went through the process of changing that. It was agricultural and it didn't have any no water or electricity to it, no well or anything like that. But actually we did, at the time that we bought, prices were quite high, so we did sort of pay not a huge amount, but we did buy it at a premium, at a time when the market was quite high on cost. So probably now the market's gone down a bit. You could pick up a piece of land, for a lot less than we did.
No worries.
But then also the planning laws have been tightened up, and I don't know if you know much about what's been going on in Spain with a lot of illegal builds.
Yeah, I remember there was at one point with the land grabs, so people, expats and stuff were building or they had their homes, and then suddenly people were grabbing that land back, being native Spanish or whatever.
That was something that was happening up in Valencia province, right. I think. But then, in Andalusia, there's been a lot of the market just went wild about in 2006, 2005, 2006, and there was a massive building, and most of it is illegal. And the Junta of Andalusia are now beginning to knock some of the houses down that are illegal. So it's taken, a lot out of the market here because people are worried about buying, obviously buying houses and things. So, and also at the same time, the laws have been tightened up, and whether they're applied.
Okay.
So when we bought...
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think you're about to go into kind of permissions and stuff you need to build an eco house.
Yeah. When we bought, the land we bought was agricultural land. So we had to go through to begin with, we asked if we went to see the town planner. I've actually written all this down in a little PDF that I put up on our website as well. So if people need it, they can go and get it from our website. I'm just updating it at the moment as well to bring us up to November now. But anyway, we went to see the town planner and told him what we were wanting to build. And he was sort of not too keen to get involved in it at the time.
Right.
And he said, "Oh well, you'd have to go through all the permissions. It could take 2 or 3 years for you to get permission to start to build." So, well, we said to him, "What can we do then? To just get something built. Just a little one, just to test it out."
Yeah.
So he sort of recommended that we build what's called a nave in Spain, which is an agricultural building. So, and there are limits on the amount of square meterage you can build on agricultural land as an agricultural building. Ours was 35 square meters. So we thought, well, that's enough, to get going on. So we put in for the permission on that, which was a really, really basic, couple of sheets of A4 paper. And that had to go off to the Environment Agency to make sure that we weren't building on protected land. And so it got a bit lost.
Really?
You have to keep chasing these things.
I can imagine,
it all went quiet for months. So Dave was chasing it, and eventually we found out that the Environment Agency had lost it, so it all had to be resent.
Classic.
So, long story short, it took us about a year to get that permission through. So we got it. So we started building the main, which is the main hut area of the actual Earthship. The main tyre area. And then we got all excited that we'd got the permission. So we decided then to put in the planning, for planning for the greenhouse part of it, which is, the front bit with all the glass on it.
Yes, yeah.
So again, a couple of sheets of A4, just sort of listing out what materials we're going to use and roughly how much it was going to cost, because you have to pay a tax on the cost of the build.
Oh, right.
So, which is why you have to list out the materials and roughly how much you think it's going to cost. So
can you kind of aim low and it costs a lower tax? Is that how it works? Or
wow, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? But we did encounter this in that, because a lot of the materials are reclaimed, so there's not a lot of cost in it. So we put this into the planner, and he said, no, there's a minimum amount, because otherwise...
I'm feeling the shakedown here.
There's a lot of corruption in Spain, and a lot of people try and cheat the system. So they have this minimum amount. So we argued it a little bit. We said, come on, we're building an eco-friendly house. So he let it go through, sort of at a reasonable amount, for both of us. So we were happy with that.
Isn't it cheaper just to pay him?
Well, I think that's probably what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
But we were really, it may have been, but it
probably would have
really
taken a week. Sorry.
Well, actually, the planning permission for the greenhouse part of it did actually take a week.
Right.
I mean, we were really shocked.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So we put it through, and all of a sudden it came through in a week, and we'd got the permission. I think because it had already been through the Environment Agency, and they'd already decided that the land was okay to build on, so the rest of it, was
cool.
Didn't take long at all.
It was okay.
And then we decided that, we were on a roll now, so we wanted to add the round room into it as well.
Yep.
And we, again, put in how much we thought it was going to cost us to build it.
Yeah. And
that was the proverbial straw. And he said, no, you can't now, because that would actually take us over the the maximum amount that you're allowed to build as an agricultural building on this land. Right. So when we talked it through with him, by this time he'd actually seen what we'd built. You get this little this little plaque that says you're allowed to build, so that if anyone, if the police come past and they see that someone's building,
you got your little plaque that says it's all like legit.
There's this little plaque that says that, we have actually gone to the town hall, and, it's not just...
You've gone through the bureaucracy to get it done.
Yeah. But over at our other house, when we were renovating that, we didn't get anything like that. So I think it depends on, the town halls. I think they have slightly different systems. So this town hall that we're in here, he sent round the police to photograph what we were doing, so that he could check that what we said we were doing, we were actually doing. So anyway, the next time we went in there, after he'd seen the photographs, he was really excited about it and really interested in the project then. And so that was, in a way, starting with the small navvy was really good, because it gave him the opportunity then to see what we were doing, and and then after that, he, the round room, like I said, it was just too much to have on, as the small. No, so we then talked it through with him, and he said, okay, well, now's the time to actually start the proper project off and make it into a proper, livable home, not an agricultural building, which is quite we started that process. What year was it? 2008, and in June this year we had
2013.
June 2013.
We got the building permission.
We got the building, but in June 2000 year, we actually got the project of execution approved, which is the sort of, and we still need to get the engineer to come in and give the final sign off to say that, it's habitable in effect, even though we're living in it. So it's taken, 7.5 years to get the planning permission. So we're glad that we didn't wait that length of time.
No.
And I would say that, to be fair on the Spanish system, it wasn't all the fault of the bureaucracy of the Spanish system.
Is there an express
some of it
service?
was down to. Well, I think the express service is very much the backhander, and but the problem with that now is, I think that's why people, did it, and why there was so much corruption, because if you have to go through a system like that, then you do think, well, what's the quicker way of doing it? Only that now I would really say be really careful, because houses are actually being knocked down now, so you really do want to do it the proper way.
A friend of mine, he's got a business, and he's got a tech company, and he's got some people in Vietnam, and he had to set up in Vietnam, above, all kosher kind of thing, and he's with his lawyers and that, and they're like, how long is it going to take? And we're like, oh, it's going to take a year. He's like, well, is there an express service? And they're like, yeah, there was, but it was a lot of money, so it's a huge difference. Yeah. But you got it in the end. So
we wanted to make it. We wanted to go through. I mean, at the time that we bought the thing, it was still sort of an option to do it the slightly illegal way. The fast track. The express service, as you call it. But really wanted to go through the process of getting the planning permission and getting the proper permissions. It's the first one that we know of in Spain that's actually got the full planning permission, the full permissions on it. So we were really keen to do that, to sort of open the door for other people, so that it would make it hopefully easier for other people to get permission here as well. So
okay, cool.
See.
I would like to thank our sponsor this week, which is ECOTIMES magazine. They cover everything green. Magazine is on the iPad and iPhone. They cover eco travel, amazing eco travel resorts, organic recipes, so amazing recipes to cook, eco gadgets, what's the latest gadgets in eco, amazing eco transport, so battery powered bikes, hybrid cars, battery powered cars, renewable energy, what's the latest in renewable energy in terms of all the different innovative ways we can get energy. Eco how-to, so for example, how to build your own solar panel or own house or something along those lines. They cover eco architecture, so like eco building. They cover tiny houses, which are amazing small houses on wheels, which you should definitely check out if you haven't seen them. They cover all eco news, so what's been going on in the week, and organic food growing techniques. Anything green really, and it's a weekly magazine, and it's on the iPad and iPhone or iTunes. So the link is below, so please enjoy. And now we get back to the show. Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask Dave a question now. And in terms of, Dave, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great stuff. So, Dave, in terms of the actual build, can you explain for the listeners out there, who want to build their own eco house, what do they need to be aware of in terms of, they have to transport, I'm guessing, a lot of tyres, and all the other kind of materials in terms of cost and in terms of time, in terms of maybe manpower. What's kind of like the overview, Dave, of getting the job done, building your Earthship or your eco house? What's your kind of advice and guidance?
Well, the first thing I would say, as with everything, is think how long it's going to take you, double it, and then double it again. Might be about right.
Right.
It is hard. Getting the stuff on site is not so difficult, because we could fit 18 tyres in our car. So every time we went past the garage, we picked some up. And between the two of us, we could only fill in 7 to 10 tyres a day. Depends how long our day was. And we were living off site. So that's good. But all the other stuff that we did, all the soil and everything came from the land. The wooden beams and the wooden things, that was delivered once or twice by the local sort of carpenter. So that wasn't too much of a trouble. It was a lot of lots of days on site. We had to drink a lot of wine and a lot of beer to collect the bottles to make the
to make what the bathroom element, or did you use?
That's you lose a lot of cans in the walls. We did have a local garden club that helped us drink the wine. We're members of the garden club, and they helped and collected wine bottles and paper, etc. It's a hard slog. It's very enjoyable. One of the things we found that we built the main structure of the walls, and then we started putting the roof on, and we thought we were nearly finished, but we were only really a quarter of the way through. We built the roof out of wood, and we filled it with natural cork, just the bits that are left over after they make all the corks for the wine.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of having flat panelled insulation, which is really quick to lay, I had to build a sort of a box system for it. So that took a lot longer to do, and then there's layers on top. So everything takes a long time to do. But it's enjoyable. So the thing is, don't expect it to be finished quickly. Live on site as close as you can.
Yeah.
But with a caveat that have somewhere comfortable to live. You don't want to live in a place where it's always dusty, etc. You need to have a place to go to. A few years ago, we found that it was just taking too long. So we saw a caravan, and we bought it.
Great.
And that meant that we could come over, stay the evening, and then start working early in the morning, which is a godsend here in Spain in the midsummer when it gets to 40 degrees at midday. There's no way you can do any work.
Nice and toasty.
It's hard work. It's toasty, but it's too toasty. You just can't do anything. And certainly you can't mix cement or mud or fill tires and that sort of thing.
So, Dave, how if someone was going to do this on a tighter schedule and could, say, utilise more manpower, like, say, a rugby team, for example, because I'm guessing, more hands on deck definitely speed things up. What are your kind of, maybe a mini digger? What are kind of your tips and tricks, would you say, if you were going to do it in a tight schedule and you had a 20-man team or whatever, how would you do it?
One thing I would say, I wouldn't go for the 20-man team. You have to control it. Doing the tyres is probably easy to get a 20-man team, get the rugby team in. It's a really enjoyable thing to do. It's very little training. People can learn to thump a tyre in less than an hour, and then everyone can do it really quickly. Yeah. So the main structure you can do very quickly. If you're living on site, plan the people to come along, make sure that sort of food's set up and everything. Obviously, be aware that people aren't going to necessarily want to work as fast as you want them to work. They want to have beer breaks, etc. So that's something to think about. But once you get past the bit that is just the walls and things, where you start needing to do a bit more detailing, you're going to have to cut down on the number of people. And if you want things done your own way, other people aren't going to do that. So you have the trade-off. You're going to do the things you want really carefully. Other people are going to come in,
get it done. That's it.
Get it done, and not necessarily take the detailing into detail. So just think of what you want. The rugby team for the building of the walls is a good idea, for water tanks. Yes. If you wanted to do it quicker than that, also live on site or close to on site as you can, and then devote more than 1 or 2 days a week to it. Maybe take the 2 months or 3 months or whatever to do, and then you'll get a lot done. But you do need to rest as well.
Okay, and in terms of off the grid, and you guys obviously have moved into your beautiful Earthship. What does one need to be aware of in terms of the off-the-grid element? Have you got solar, and you got your power, and you got your kind of rain capture for water? How's it all working?
Well, at the moment, we've got the solar system. We've got a 1.5 kilowatt solar array, and we've got 500 amp hour batteries. We're using, this might be quite technical, but we're using about 2 to 2.5 kilowatts of power per day, and we're generating enough to cope with that.
Cool.
So that's okay. Now, we haven't got a washing machine here, so we're not using it. We're probably about 50% of what we want to use. So we're okay on that. Rain catching, the roof is designed to catch rain. We're currently bringing in water from our old house at the moment, drinking water, which is filtered. And the water that we're collecting off the roof, we're just using to do more of the building.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it hasn't rained much in the last year and a half here. So instead of having 8 inches of rain a year, we've only had about 3 inches of rain a year. So it's very droughty, very dry. So we don't flush very often.
Have you got a compost toilet?
No, we haven't. We decided to go for... We have got a compost toilet outside the house, which we use. But inside the house, we decided to go for normal flushing toilet. But the water that we're going to use is the water that we've already used for the shower or for washing up. So we don't actually use any extra water. We felt that was going to be more comfortable for people should they come and stay, because people just don't want to go too far. And we feel that if you don't look after a compost toilet correctly, it can go wrong. And we'd rather not have other people have to do that and have a bad experience, not because of the Earthship is bad, but because the facilities aren't quite what people expect them to be. But we have got a compost toilet outside. It's an old chair we found by the side of the road, which we put the loo seat on. So it's quite... It's a lovely sort of seat.
Yeah.
It's a lovely view, and every few weeks or every month, every couple of months, when one fills up, we'd dig another hole and move the seat along, and then hopefully in 6 months' time to a year, we can put a tree in that one, and then we carry on like that.
Beautiful. And have you guys totally moved out of your old place now, and you totally...
No, we've still got that house. There's still things that we've collected over the years are still sitting in rooms and cupboards over there. So when we have more space built here, the next big building we're going to build is the garage, which will then allow us to bring some of the other stuff. And hopefully we'll sell it. We shall sell that next year sometime.
Sounds good. And are you guys looking into growing your own food and stuff?
The Earthship itself, the way the water works is that there's inside planters. So the water that you use for showering and washing the dishes go into the planters. So it's an ideal temperature to grow things. At the moment, our planters hasn't got any... Oh, yes, we had 2 peppers. We've had 4 peppers and some basil. But we've basically just got house plants at the moment because we've got other things that are more important. But we've got about 10 square meters of growing area inside the Earthship, which means that it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. That's got the light and they should grow nicely. So in theory, we should be growing our own tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers all year round.
Oh, wow.
And as we've got more time, it takes about 6 months for the planter to sort of start behaving correctly.
So, Dave, for the listeners out there who are thinking about building one, in terms of like how much is going to cost me to build an Earthship? Like, is it because I went to the Brighton Earthship in the United Kingdom, which is in Brighton, and they said it was quite a lot, really. Is there any way of bringing those costs down? I don't know. What are your thoughts, David? Because I know, some bits you just can't skimp on in terms of, elements you actually, are fundamental for the Earthship working well.
Years ago, we did an estimate on how much it would cost. I estimated that for €10,000, £10,000, roughly the same, you can build a 35 square meter, which is 350 square feet, Earthship, which will with a very small solar system, and that should cover just about everything in it. Now, that would be the detailing in that would obviously at the low end. You don't have the flash bathroom, you don't have the flash.
No.
And then the insulation would be the bare minimum insulation. So starting at that level.
Yeah.
So, but that price doesn't include the good cork insulation that we bought later. So
sorry, I missed the price. What was the price?
Okay, we estimated about €10,000, £10,000 for 35 square meters, but that didn't include the cost of the eco insulation.
Right. Okay.
So if you add another 5,000 to that, that would allow you to buy good quality FSC insulation. So so about 15,000 for a 35 square meter build.
Okay, and is that with the glass and the solar system?
Very basic solar system. The glass, the wooden frame.
You could, if you do your research and you reclaim as much as possible, you could build a nice kind of 35 kind of home for about 15K. Okay, cool. That's cool.
That's not including the land, of course, and it's not including any sort of taxes for building permission or anything like that, which are
If you guys were going to give a rough estimate on, say, someone wanted to go purchase a piece of land in Spain today, kind of late 2014, what would your kind of rough estimate be?
I can't. Okay. Oh. For rough land, just as a rough guide, land costs about, in the middle of nowhere with no water, land costs about 50 cents per square meter.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're buying, the thing is, the plots are all different sizes. So for a 1 hectare plot, you're talking between 5 and 10,000 euros.
Okay, and how many in terms of an acre? How many? I'm not sure how many.
A hectare is 2.5 acres, which is a hectare. You can get for about £10,000.
Okay, so that's quite a large space for thing, but in the middle of nowhere. If you want to, I'm guessing if you want it a bit closer and with some sort of amenities, but you don't need to, do you? If you build the Earthship correctly.
But also that would have no planning permission, so there's no guarantee that you'd be allowed to build on it.
Right. So in terms of planning permission costs.
Well, you might. I mean, we bought the land on the off chance that we would get planning permission.
Yeah.
In living in the middle of nowhere. So if you were to buy land that has already been approved for building, the price could be up to 10 times the price of that.
Okay.
Because it's within the urban zone. Going back to 2000 and something or other, we were looking at some land and they were charging €12 per square meter because it had potential planning permission on it.
I see.
So we're talking €1. It's a bit like in England. You can go and buy forest land at something, like £1 a square meter.
Yeah, but with no permission,
you can't do anything else with it.
Yeah, you can sit in the forest and enjoy it. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm guessing about 2025 as a rough guideline.
But it all depends where you are. If you're near Malaga, it's going to be more expensive. If it's not like the UK where you can go into an estate agent and ask how much is the house worth and have prices like that. And the other thing is, if you're wanting to buy, the price goes up. If you're wanting to sell, the price goes down. Purely market forces.
Right.
If you had a hectare of land and someone said, "I'll give you 5,000 for it," you'd go, "I can't be bothered to sell it." So.
Oh, we play hardball straight away, Dave. They're like suddenly it's 10,000 or something. Right. Okay.
Well, if you're wanting to buy, the price goes up. So
I see. Okay. That's great. So, what's the plans now? So, kind of finish off everything and kind of move full time. I'm guessing, Dave and Laura.
The plan, yes. Well, the plan is to because we still don't have running water inside the house at the moment. Right. So that's sort of the big water tank and running water in the house the next sort of big job that we're going to be concentrating on. We are living here full time though. Without that, I mean, we still, we have got a flushing toilet inside, so that is, the water's almost there.
You guys, you lucky guys.
Shower. So. But actually, having said that, it's just so comfortable that we don't care, because it's just so lovely living here. That
I can imagine.
I mean, none of the walls are finished. I can see tyres, I can see cans, and it's just so lovely that. So yeah, the plan is, I guess, just to work through. It's really what's the next. Rush, or not rush job, but the next urgent job. And I guess the next one really on our list is the water tank and running water, maybe get the kitchen a bit more sorted out, and then start building the garage so that we can, we've got a bit of storage over here so that we can then put the other up for sale and really just concentrate on this place. Yeah.
That sounds great.
I mean, We've got quite a bit of land, and I'm sort of itching to get out there and start looking at maybe getting a bit of permaculture going on it and growing some things. But I think that's a few years down the line yet.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Everything else we've got to do.
I just interviewed a gentleman who has got a kind of a food growing TV show. I can't remember which podcast. It's only a couple back from this one, and he basically highlighted who's the polytunnel expert. Now you know those big kind of polytunnels. They're amazing for growing food. Absolutely amazing. And a friend of mine, he was like a guru in himself. He's got a book out and stuff. But he showed me in his polytunnel, and it's just like all this amazing vegetables just grown like year round, because you've got your own, bit like what you guys have got within your home.
Well, hopefully the plant will do a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But have you seen the guy in? I think he's either in Austria or Switzerland, the permaculture guy,
right?
Who's growing citrus in the Swiss Alps.
That's awesome.
I can't think of his name. I'll have to email it to you. But it's we saw a little film about his land, and he's renting this land, and he's gradually expanded the amount that he's rented, and he's got the whole hillside is using water to reflect the sun up onto he's got a sort of a big lake area now that he's created, and he's reflecting the sun up so that he can grow citrus in the I mean, it's just amazing, just really amazing what he's doing up there. So yeah, well that's all in the future, I think, for us.
Awesome. Like another guy, another amazing food grower you should check out is a gentleman called Will Allen, and Will Allen is like probably one of the best in the world at terms growing food. They use an aquaponics system. So aquaponics is where you grow your fish, and then with your vegetables as well. And you should definitely check this gentleman out. He's amazing. So you'll be. So go on.
We're vegan. We're vegan though. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, polytunnel.
I did look into aquaponics, but that sort of I'd have to do it without the fish.
Yeah, well, maybe just for visual aspect, but it's it's great. But I just want to say thank you very much, guys, for coming on the show. And where's the best place, Laura, for any of our listeners to check your website out? What's the best kind of? Is it your website?
Yeah, that's we're still keeping the blog going. So
cool.
we've done a blog which started out, the very first day of our build. So if you went to our website, what we're going to probably be doing now is putting up more about what it's like living in an Earthship. Apart from all the other building that we're going to have going on, there'll also be a little bit about life in the Earthship on there as well.
That'd be great.
So it's so that's Earthship.es. So
great.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Yeah. Thanks very much. It's been really, really nice talking to you about our home.
I think it's beautiful. We'll have to stay in touch, and we'll get you back on the show to hear about your new renovations and how it's all going.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for enjoying our ECOTIMES magazine podcast. We'd like to tell you all the platforms we're on. So we're on SoundCloud, we're on Stitcher, which is for Android. If you've got Android phone, you can download a Stitcher, which is a podcast app, and get the ECOTIMES podcast on there. We're on iTunes, so you can get it on your iPhone and iPad and all your Apple devices. And we're on TuneIn as well. And we're on YouTube. So please subscribe to whichever platform works best for you. And thank you very much for listening. We want to say a big thank you very much to ECOTIMES magazine for sponsoring the podcast. They are a weekly magazine, cover everything green. So if you're interested in growing your own food, renewable energy, amazing eco resorts, eco gadgets, basically anything green, how to build your own home, tiny houses, eco transport, organic food, anything green really. Big thank you to them. And please check them out. The links be below, and it's on the Apple newsstand, so you'll be able to get it on your iPad and iPhone. Thank you and have a great day.